All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Why Are We Here? I'm going to give a little intro on our guest today. Here we go. Whether he's on my Netflix home screen, my TikTok For You page, or my Discover Weekly playlist on Spotify, I'm always happy to see this human being. I remember scrolling on TikTok and I saw him for the first time and thinking to myself, who the hell is this guy? I was blown away by his raspy tone, melodic sensibilities, and so much more. Not to mention, he's probably the best dressed artist I know. Our guest just got off the road from his tour, What a Shame, the What a Shame tour, where he was packing venues and people were screaming back his lyrics. I might be a little biased because we share the same first name, but I see an incredibly bright future for this individual, and it's an honor to have him on the podcast today. Please welcome the extremely multi-talented Spencer Southerland. What's up, my dude?
What an intro. I literally have to give you a round of applause for the intro. I've never had a better intro in my life.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
It's so good to be here, dude. I feel pretty much everything you just said about me. I've scrolled and seen you nonstop and seen you on tour too. So it's cool. I know we've kind of talked before, but it's really cool to get to chat and connect and stuff.
Yeah, I was excited because we've, text back and forth or whatever really quick, but we've never really gotten to sat down and just hung out and chatted. And I have a billion questions because you do so many things and you're so talented. And I just feel like we are brothers from another mother with the same name. And it's great.
I do
and I'm
too.
excited to chat.
Also, side note, when my original plan was when you introed me to act like I did, I stumbled in a chat room and I was like, I don't know who you are, or I was going to do some bit like that, but it was too good of an intro and I couldn't do it.
It was too good. That's perfect. Well, I mean, we just talked about how was the tour? You were on the What a Shame tour. Mm-hmm. You hit a ton of cities all over the place. What is that like? I mean, obviously I saw some of the videos, it was packed. You guys had a ton of people show up and screaming the lyrics back. That is a once in a lifetime feeling. Kind of take me through that fall.
Man, I really do. I really do think I'm lucky in that way because I've definitely played shows where some fans are a little more passive, and which is fine. That's great. But I've just been so lucky to gather this fan base that's just like wild. They're so wild at the shows, and I can always count on them turning up, even if it's an acoustic radio thing. The radio station will be like, what are they doing? So I'm so lucky to have that. And I think when you tour at a certain level, right, you're always thinking about ticket sales, and you're always worried about as long as there's more than 100 people, and I know you've been in that boat, and all musicians have, and some cities are better than others, and it's so crazy in this last tour on this What a Shame tour. It was even the smallest shows were just super lit, and I got to give credit to my fans for that because I don't know how I got so lucky with that, but I did. The tour itself was probably, not gonna lie, the most fun tour that I've ever been on. Nice. Yeah, it was my second headline tour ever, and I didn't really know what to expect because I hadn't gone out in over 2 years. But everybody blew me away. Expectations were, it was so fun. I got sick for half of the tour, and that happens every tour just because you're running yourself ragged. Yeah. But such a blast. I literally wanted to turn around and go across the country again. It was so good.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm curious, do you feel like you saw, because this is probably your first tour post TikTok, correct?
Yeah.
Did you see a big difference? Do you feel like that's where a lot of people were finding you? Do you feel like it's from Netflix? Obviously, for those of you who don't know, you also are an actor and you do other stuff too. Where do you feel like people are finding you the most now?
Ticket selling fans, mostly it was people that came back after 2 years, which is the biggest for pop music. Dope. Especially people that, listen, don't stop listening to you and keep coming back to shows. That's a really long time, because a bunch of the fans are between the ages of maybe 18 and 23. And it's a time where you grow up and you kind of, your interests go different ways and stuff. So I was lucky to have essentially all the same people come back. I would say the majority of new people came from probably, TikTok and Netflix equally. It was very, it's very surreal to how many people I met in the meet and greet that were like, yeah, like, cause I asked people, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, this is your first time seeing me? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, where'd you like first see me? And they're like, yeah, I just saw like your Elton John cover on TikTok. And I was like, oh, that's so wild.
So cool.
It's crazy. And I'm sure you've gotten that a bunch
that's
too.
That's where I found you.
I love that.
I mean, it changed my life 100%, dude. Like, I'm sure you're in the same boat. There hasn't ever been. We tried to do some touring before the pandemic, before TikTok. And what you're talking about, those fears were just a lot bigger and a lot heavier of, okay, in this city, we never played here. So hopefully, we can get 100 people and then we'll build and we'll do 150. And then we'll, like that was the plan. And then the internet changed everything where all of a sudden, like I saw you had a video get watched 6 million times last week.
What the hell, man?
6 million people.
I mean,
there's never been a time in the world where that could happen.
Yeah, that's the coolest part, and especially during the time where we couldn't tour, it was the only way to make new fans and get in front of new people because I had done some Vine, but nothing serious, some like singing Vines and stuff, and
sure.
This is like the thing though. This is like the algorithm, like, and it's wild once you do, and you've had so many viral videos, but it's wild when you do have like. When it just keeps you wake up and it's like millions more and then random. I'm sure. I wonder like who's done this to you. But have you had like a bunch of random, and not random in a bad way, just like out of the blue celebrities like DM you or just people that aren't musicians or just like random people?
Yeah, they'll be like, hey, I found this song. Like we're hopefully going to get Andre Drummond, the basketball player, on the podcast. And like, he messaged me and was like, hey man, love this country song. And I was like,
Andre?
How is Andre Drummond messaging me right now? But he's like, I'm on TikTok. I'm like, you just forget these human beings are out there and they're scrolling and they got a For You page. You know?
Yeah, dude. And you're going to be like, if you have a video that is viewed 6 million times, chances are like your favorite singer maybe saw it. And
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Did you have somebody that reached out?
Well, this was a couple of videos ago, but this reminded me because you just said Andre Drummond, but Meta World Peace came on my podcast. same kind of thing, dude. It was like, how do you know me? I actually reached out to him to be on, and he said, oh shit, like, I just saw you on TikTok and I was like, oh, cool. Want to come on my podcast? Yeah, it's crazy,
dude.
It is. It's really wild.
I love that.
You get in front of people that you don't have any business being in front of, and it's awesome.
Sure. What's your like relationship with TikTok, with the internet? Like, have you seen the like the Chelsea Cutler post that's going around right now? For those of you like listening and you're like, what are they talking about? There's this post of Chelsea Cutler kind of talking about, she's an artist and she was talking about her frustration with these apps and kind of the way that it was and the way that it is and how it's like really different to be an artist nowadays. You and I probably lean more in the like, we love the marketing of the now and the internet and all these things, but I think there's a lot of artists who feel very frustrated by the fact that, which I feel the same frustrations, and I'll put this to you in a second, of like, if a song doesn't go viral, does it not have any value? Does my whole career revolve around this one app? She was just really bringing up all these things that are really interesting because this whole thing's brand new. You said you saw the post. Like, how did it make you feel? Did you feel one way or the other?
I'm kind of in your same boat. Part of like, I reposted it on my story because I've been doing this on all different levels. I did shows for 2 people. I celebrated 1,000 streams in a year. Like my first, like I did every single level. So, it resonated with me a lot in sort of that way. And, like, I guess we're all judgmental to some extent, and you see songs and you're like, how does that song have, 100 million streams on Spotify? But I feel like I have a song that's 10 times better that has, 100,000 or whatever it is. And that's the thing that I sort of resonate with because I believe in my music so much. And like, it's such a complicated thing to talk about it. But on the other side, I think before this sounds maybe a little bit bad, but before I did well on TikTok, I was 100% like, no social media, no TikTok. Like, I just want to be an artist and do this. Right. And then when it starts working, you're like, oh, it works. Like it's good. So I guess my answer, that's a long-winded way to say that I'm like 50-50 on it. And I just see both sides, you know? Yeah.
I feel the same way. I read it and was like,
yep.
I understand the frustration. I get it. Like there's nothing worse than spending a total of 6 hours making and editing and doing all this stuff and getting no views, and the song doesn't move forward at all, and it doesn't affect the playlisting and all that. At the same time, it's changed my life. I mean, like I have worked really hard at it, and I see the power of it as well. So I think hers, it felt very much like a lament, just like I feel bothered by this and I feel, charged to share. And I think that's great. Like it was vulnerable. And I think a lot of artists, it hit a chord with them. It resonated. At the same time, like so many, at the same time, I still see her posting. So I think that's the reality, is like, you can feel that way, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can't play the game. And at the end of the day, it's the music industry. It's a business. Part of that is marketing. Part of that right now is TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that a lot of people, everybody resonated with it, but the people who didn't and sort of like felt differently, I think they maybe got it twisted a little bit, because if you kind of like look at it, it's like, it's not like she's saying she doesn't post and she's not going to post on TikTok, like her songs and stuff. I think that she doesn't want to vlog her entire life. And I have most of my days, I don't want to vlog my entire life, but like, sometimes it's like work you need to put in. But I think a lot of people are like she didn't really say that she despises TikTok. And I just think that like, also I have a strong feeling about people just like they get to decide what your opinion is. Like she's just allowed to post anything, like she can feel any way about anything. But yeah, it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, no, that's great. I was just curious because I knew a ton of artists saw it. So I was like, I wonder how you felt about it. And obviously that's how I found you, was the app. And I feel like that's a lot of what our connection is like. We're both Spencers trying to make the music that we love, like get to as many human beings as possible. So I think that's great.
Yeah, dude, we're both Spencers. I don't know if you know a guy named Seth Jones, but he may know your manager or something, or someone you worked with, but he turned me on to you. And right when TikTok like kind of started happening, and he just said you need to be on it. And this is my stubborn 2019. I was like, no, I'm a real artist. Like I need to write songs and tour. And he's like, well, you can also do that, but also why wouldn't you it's free. Everything's free. Just do it. It's free. And you were an example, because I think, you were pretty early on. I would say for TikTok singers, not that you're a TikTok singer, but singers on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
I know, but I'm also like lately I'll go to a coffee shop or at the airport or something, and somebody will say, oh, are you that TikTok singer? I'm like, no, I guess like I'm a singer, like I'm on.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, because it doesn't bother me at all. And I think it's because that, to me, like when I translate that in my brain, it's like, hey, you're the guy on the most important app in the world that I see all the time that I think is good. I'm like, great, I'll take it.
That's the ultimate outlook right there. Like that's like the ego list. That's it. Because that's so true. It's also like they're coming up to say what's up to you because they obviously liked you on the app.
100%.
It's positive.
You do a lot of things like you can act, you can sing, you can do multiple things. What is like, when you think of the future for you, is it a combo of those things? Is one of those things take the lead? Is it just kind of this like love of expression and creativity and kind of a go with the flow? Are you a planning person, or is all this like, I don't know?
Dude, I'm such a planner, but at the same time, I'm just so here to have a good time. Like I'm just in LA and in the industry and in entertainment to just have a great time. A good example of that, for some reason in my head, is when I like say, you've been to like a one of those like kind of shitty industry parties, right? Where like everybody's
many,
like, yeah,
a plethora of them.
Oh, can I cuss on this or not? I probably shouldn't have. But
yeah. Oh
we'll
yeah, you
bleep it
can.
out. Oh,
We
cool.
encourage it.
No. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. And you go to these parties and everybody's sort of like really, really trying to be cool. And like when they talk to you, they kind of like look around and stuff. A good example of that in the last couple of years of my life, I think, is like when I go to those, I just like dress unapologetically like myself and sort of just like I'll talk to anybody, and I don't think that anybody's too cool or like I'm not worried about someone famous being mean. If they're gonna be mean, they're gonna be mean. And God,
Yeah.
I'm just like opening my brain and letting words spill out. I forget what the question was. Oh, what am I gonna do for the rest of my life? The rest of my life.
Just that one.
Yeah. I think a combo.
Well, I guess
I
let's
love
rephrase
acting.
it. Let's rephrase it. Yeah, like great. What is the like where does acting fit in music, especially like with I guess what I'm asking is more like a scheduling question. Like I feel like you're obviously a very busy guy. You have a podcast,
Yes.
you act, you sing, you do TikTok, and if all you did was TikTok, I'd know you're a busy motherfucker because I do the same thing and it's a lot.
God, it's so much.
Maybe let's actually ask a different question, which is like, how do you deem something really worth your time? And how do you deem something like this is a project I have to do versus something that's like, sounds fun? Because obviously your time's very valuable and you don't have a ton of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm a little bit of a workaholic. The podcast it's me and my co-host is my drummer and my best friend. His name's Matheson. And
Nice.
by the way, it's called Wins Lunch Podcast. If you want to go check it out, just going to plug that real quick. And
yes, check it out.
yeah, so we do that, and it's a good. We always do it at nighttime, always at like 7, 8 p.m. And like I said, we have on the most random people from singers, actors, comedians, NBA play, like just random people, like you have too. I saw who you've had on. And that is the furthest thing from work. Like this is not, I don't feel super like work vibe about this because I just get to, I get to hang and drink some tequila and our podcast is also like probably way too goofy as well. So we just had, that's like my like relaxing time almost. But I think that everything that I do comes back to my music. I think even when I act and do these projects, I think about getting big exposure so that those people can come over and become people that come to shows or listen to my music or, even with TikTok, like my passion isn't doing cover songs. My passion's singing. So that's great. But I feel like it's a way to get tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to come over and maybe some of them will listen to your original music. But yeah, I guess now I'm saying this, it all kind of just always comes back to music.
No,
always.
Absolutely. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Like I love this podcast. I love other business ventures and I definitely, would identify as a workaholic as well. I love what I do. I love music. I love creating. Like I've always kind of said, just create things I love with people I love. If it's that, I'm usually having a great time and it doesn't feel like work. But it always points back to the music. And I'm always curious because some people do music as a way to like just express themselves. Some people do music as a way to get cast in things. But it sounds like you're just a pure musician and you love writing songs. You love performing and all that stuff, and everything is going to always funnel back to that, which is dope.
Yeah, and I think my first acting opportunity in that Netflix movie, I literally play a singer, and I did a bunch of the music for the movie. So it wasn't a hard crossover. Like it wasn't like it is funny though. The first like scene that I shot with like lines and everything, that was a bit crazy because my girlfriend's an actor and I've been on countless massive Hollywood set. I've seen all this stuff, but when they're like, all right, we're ready for you. So I get on my trailer and I kind of like walk to the first, where I have my first scene and I stand there and I kind of like look up. Actually it takes place in an elevator and then the elevator opens and the camera's there. And it's not just like when you shoot a music video, it's like a red camera or whatever. And there's like 4 or 5 people, whatever. it's like this barrel of a camera, and then there's 2 other cameras, and there's like 80 people. And I remember the elevator opened, I'm supposed to say my first line, and I'm just like, oh shit, sorry. This is crazy. And now I started.
There's a lot to take in right now.
Yeah. Luckily, like everybody's cool and they started laughing and like it was a really funny moment. But
that's awesome.
I like forgot my line instantly. I was like, oh my God, dude, sorry. It was funny.
I
but
can only imagine. That's a crazy. You get only so many of those moments in your life where you're like, am I really on a movie set? Am I really on a tour? Like you're waiting to go out and human beings are like screaming your name. And I mean, the way that it's so weird because one moment you can be like, I am the shit, I'm killing it, blah, blah, blah. Right before I go on stage, I'm like, why are these people here?
Oh,
like
no.
You can obviously in health or in unhealth, you can feel completely differently, like sometimes I'm like, I'm just the, whatever 16-year-old kid in high school with braces and a buzz cut. And like, these people don't know that. Yeah. They just think I'm this other thing. And it's very surreal. And I'm sure that moment when the elevator opens, you're like, are 80 people really about to listen to me say this one line right now? Is this real?
Nuts. So nuts, dude. And yeah, even to just like, it was a classic moment of like, stuff doesn't hit you until it hits you. And then it's like, oh my God. Cause I was in South Africa and I was just like in this movie studio in South Africa. And then it was all like, kind of like, it was cool, but I was like, oh, cool, sick. I'm gonna go to South Africa. I was in quarantine. It was cool. And then I was just like hanging out, going around places. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then I got to the set. And then it was that moment that I was like, oh my God, I'm across the ocean. Oh shit.
I'm across the ocean. I'm filming a movie. I'm going to be on Netflix. Yeah, that's
dude.
Crazy, dude.
It's like, I wonder if people will like me. Like, yeah, it's a wild realization, but wonderful. I'm so lucky. Yeah,
absolutely. That's incredible. I'm pumped for you, man. I'm excited to see just how everything keeps going. We like to kind of get into some of the, it's called Why Are We Here? So we like to just get into some of the existential crisis, ask some of the big, weird questions of life. And I'm just going to start throwing them at you, and there's no wrong answers, and we're just going to see what happens. You ready?
I'm ready, dude. I'm nervous.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm actually going to ask you this one because I'm curious. What do you think your superpower is?
Great question. I think my superpower is, I'm trying to describe it like a mood, like a vibe connoisseur. Like I think when someone is having a rough time, a rough day, online or in person, especially, I think I'm really good at cheering people up, whether that's knowing if I need to go, if we're like, let's go get ice cream, or if we need to grab a drink, or if we need to like watch something, or if we need to talk about something. Like, I feel like that's something that kind of empathy, something I've always had in my life. So yeah, I would say that. I wish I could fly though.
Dude. Of course. Invisibility would be nice, but empathy is also very nice. I feel like that is the kind of thing that is so underrated to have in a friend, is like the human being that can look at you and go, something's off. Talk to me. What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an important thing, and I do think it's something that you can learn, but I think it's also something that like you have, because I remember as a little kid, my mom told me this story. I don't even really remember it, but I was 4 years old, and we always do Christmas Eve at my grandma's house, and my grandma's friend, her husband had just passed away, and so she invited her over to, just because she didn't want to be alone on Christmas. And my mom said, as like a 4-year-old kid, I went in the kitchen and I like made her this drawing, and I gave it to her and said, "Merry Christmas." And the mom, she asked like, "Why? Like, that was really nice. Why'd you do that?" And I said that I felt like she needed to, I guess, like feel better because her husband was gone. So I think I've always just felt that, I guess, a little bit, and it's always been something that I love. I love vibing people out. I don't know.
I love that, dude. You got to have people around you that just know you and can see you and can see when you're down. That's amazing. That's a great answer.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, here's another one. If you could do anything for a day, what would you do in that day? You have the whole calendar clear. I'm talking from the start of your day to the end of the day. What are you doing? Who are you with? Where are you? What's the plan?
Wow. I don't know why my head, I mean, of course I want to be with the people that I love and play an amazing sold out show. But my head originally went to, I'm going to space. And I'm too scared to ever do
Tell me
that.
everything.
I think it was like, so I had COVID over Christmas and I was watching 3-4 movies a day, and I got in this weird niche of watching space movies. So I watched Armageddon, Space Cowboys, like all those like really, really great. I watched Interstellar and all these, and I was like, if I wasn't so scared of heights, or
I
like,
love Interstellar.
yeah, I feel like that would be a cool. I don't know. I feel like I should go to space someday, and that would be what I'd do for a day.
Do you think we go to space in our lifetime? Do you think that's within our cards?
I think for sure it's in our kids' cards. I don't know if it's in our cards. I think it can be in your cards if you really, really want it to be. But I think when our kids are, 30, 40 years old, which I guess will still be here. I don't plan on dying that young. I think that
hopefully, space travel and medicine, all those things come together and we just live till we're like 400 and it'll be great.
That's what I'm saying. Although I don't know if I'd want to live like after 200, because I feel like I'd be so damn brittle that like I would just be laying there all day. What was I saying? Oh, I think our kids are just going to be able to, they're just going to be able to choose. Like it's going to be like kind of an expensive vacation. And then they're going to take a Concorde straight to the outer rim, and it's going to be like a 2-hour ride to space.
That sounds wild. Like, I think you're right. I think you'll just literally be like, hey, we're going to do the weekend in orbit. And, there's these really cool restaurants we want to check out.
There's going to be like hot tubs and like really bougie bars
100%.
It's going to be a cruise essentially.
Strip clubs in space. You're going to have
I would do
Vegas.
that.
You're going to have space residencies. So you're going to just have like, oh, come see Adele in space.
Dude, she's going to be one of the first artists. And then after it becomes like more of a regular thing, like, it's going to be like Eric Estrada is going to be in space, and anybody who can sing a note will be, it'll be great. Can't wait.
I love all that. Dude, I feel like the second anyone starts talking about space or aliens, I always light up because that shit just gets me going. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to think about.
It's crazy, and it's also super, super real. I think like even when like the pandemic first started and nobody cared about anything but the pandemic, the government like dropped, like they're like, yeah, there's aliens.
Yeah, we're like, no, we get it.
We're like, oh, that's crazy. That's pretty cool. But also like, and they said there is aliens. They literally told us there are aliens. We have seen proof. And just nobody cared. Nobody really cared.
Not even for a second. I was freaking out, and I sent it to a couple of friends of mine, and they're like, wow. Yeah, no, for sure. I was like, this can't be the response for aliens. This cannot be the response.
Yeah, like, I love alien movies too. Those are great.
Me too. Do you have a favorite alien movie?
Independence Day for sure.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm reading the Will Smith book right now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's a good number one book, so I figured it'd be pretty good. But Independence Day is it's just peak Jeff Goldblum and just beautiful Will Smith. Like he is just like at the ultimate peak level, just super shredded, and fantastic movie.
Whenever I think of peak Will Smith, which I'll ask you a real question here in a second, but whenever I think of peak Will Smith, I always think of I Am Legend, the pull-up scene where he's just ripping pull-ups. I'm like, that is the dream body, I think, for every human being. It's Will Smith and I Am Legend.
It's either that or Brad Pitt from Troy. He's just out of control shredded in that movie.
Brad Pitt from Troy. I'll enter in the conversation Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Some people say he's a little skinny, but he's every muscle fiber in his body. Isn't this interesting? Do you ever think about this? Like, somebody said this to me the other day. They're like, you don't work out for women, you work out for dudes. And I was like, come again? She's like, look, girls don't need I Am Legend Will Smith.
No.
But guys are constantly like, because when I see that, I'm like, he's handsome, he's worthy, he's all these things. She's like, yeah, it means nothing to me. Like it's nice to a certain point, and then it's, you know, like the studies on money. It's like a certain point, it's just plateau happiness. And I feel like a lot of people are like, yeah, you don't have to be Will Smith ripped. But in my brain, I'm like, I'll never be anything until I'm I Am Legend, Will Smith doing a pull-up.
And I get that. And yeah, it's funny because girls do not care, just don't care. And I saw this TikTok that was going viral that you may have seen it too. And it was Pete Davidson and Jack Harlow like walking around, and it said, boys, comma, this is the new prototype. We got to regroup. We got to stop going to the gym. And it was just such a funny, like, because that's the thing.
It's
like that's
time
what girls
to start going to sketch comedy classes. Exactly. You got to start rapping. You have to start like nobody. If you were telling me growing up, like the peak handsomeness, charisma, all these things is going to be Pete Davidson and Jack Harlow.
Yeah.
Because of the way that I was raised, would have been like, I don't know if that's right, but it's freaking true. Pete Davidson
also, yeah,
is
and also
Kim Kardashian, and if that doesn't tell you anything,
that tells you everything. Like that actually tells you everything. Also, in the early 2000s, like there's the handsome guy was a different prototype for sure than it is now. It was very much like Abercrombie and Fitch, spiked hair, you know, but it's not anymore.
Very Chris Hemsworth, and now I feel like it's a little dirtier and a little more like rough around the edges, and definitely funnier, which I really like. I feel like that's part of this like new era of traditionally handsome is it's almost more about the personality and definitely the humor, which makes me happy. That's
I think that's really, really cool. And it's honestly just more real too. Just more real is more attractive, I think.
Way more real and sustainable. All right. I got another question for you. Here we go. Are you ready? Let's do, I like this one. If you could put something in a pill, like a feeling or like a way to look at life maybe, and you could give this pill to everyone in the world, what would you put in your pill?
I would quite literally make a chill pill. Like I would genuinely.
Chill pill.
Yeah. I think no matter what, the pill I would give you and everybody else, not just you,
I'll take it. I'll take the chill pill.
I know you will. Believe me, I know. It'll be blue and red, like blue on one side and red on one side. And honestly, it's a true chill pill, affecting the outlook of your life, no matter what your religious denomination is, no matter what your outlook on life is. It's just, and I think this way of looking at life, I also don't mean like, look at the way I look at life, everybody. Like you can do whatever you want. But the way that I happen to look at life is, sounds good. Like, let's have fun. We're going to die. Might as well like not work a job you hate. And I feel like that sort of like idea, even if you're Muslim, Christian, atheist, whatever you are, I feel like that's just like, why not? Why wouldn't you? Of course, like, you know, don't have too much fun. Because, you know, I'm sure heroin feels good, and I don't want to know what heroin feels like, but it'll kill you. But yeah, I just feel I like the outlook. Yeah, I'll give people a.
Dude, I literally love that, and I think a lot of that comes from like another answer that we've gotten on the show is just like to realize that it's not as serious, and to me it's the same. The chill pill and the like, it's not as serious as you think it is pill. These are the same pills, maybe even having a slightly different presentation or whatever. I think they are crazy similar. And I think it would be at the top of my pill list. As we're asking these questions, I love to hear, and I literally like will jot them down. So I'm going to eventually have this pharmacy of pills that I would feed the human race. But chill pill's high. And I feel like half of the time when I'm in conflict or having a shitty day or whatever, it's more the suffering of my imagination than the actual scenario. And that's exactly what you're talking about. The chill is just going with the flow and not wanting this when I have that. And that's like the definition of suffering.
Yeah. I mean, that is, and you just said it like, you know, the chill pill and it's not that serious pill are essentially Xanax and Ativan. They're the same thing. They're presented differently, but they're the same thing. And it's just like, that's the whole idea is why, like, why is anything serious? Like nothing is actually serious.
All right, I got a couple more big, weird questions for you, and I'm going to let you go because obviously you've been great with your time. Really appreciate you. Do you have a bucket list? And if so, what are the top 3 things on your bucket list that you have to do before you kick the bucket?
I don't have an official bucket list. I don't have like one written out. But now that I'm saying that, I feel like maybe I should. I feel like it'd be cool to have that. Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff that I want to do. I, of course, I want to go on a world tour. I want to play everywhere that there is to play. Dubai, China, Russia. Like I want to play like in every place. So I think that is like my biggest bucket list. My other bucket list is co-starring in an action movie with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm a big Nicolas Cage fan.
I love Nick Cage, and I feel like somewhere along the lines he got some slander, and I won't stand for it. The man is the best.
He is honestly the best. I always look at it as if you can do an impersonation of someone, like of an actor, like if you can do their thing, they got a thing. Like whether you like it or not, they have like a memorable thing. And Nicolas Cage is,
100%.
There's been some slander, but also like I'm a connoisseur of Nicolas Cage, and he is a ridiculous human being. He's
The most.
You should see, like when he went bankrupt, you should have seen, because it becomes public, like what he's bought there. He had, like, his security had 2 pet snakes with him at all times. He owned multiple haunted houses. He owned a pyramid. He owned sarcophaguses. I mean, the list goes on and on. Jets, planes, it's pretty crazy.
What's so funny is there was not a single thing on that list that you said. I was
surprised
like,
you.
Because once you said Nick Cage, I was like, yeah, all right, that all checks out. That's just like Nicolas Cage's living room, and that just makes sense to me.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I don't want it to be anything other than that. I want there to be the strangest stuff in there. That's my second bucket list. I would say I think my third one is I really want to open a coffee shop. I want to open a coffee shop someday and just make it exactly how I see it in my head. I think that'd be a really fun thing to do. I'm a giant coffee.
Would it be in LA?
It doesn't matter. I think wherever. I think of course it would do well in LA, I think, but I think it would be really great to, dude, I'm obsessed with Istanbul in Turkey. It's one of my favorite cities, like in the world.
Why? What's the fascination?
I went there. I don't know if you knew this about me, but cool. One of the first things I ever did was, I was like the first American on the X Factor in the UK.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't advertise it much. I'm literally advertising
it. I don't advertise it much, but we did like the judge's house round, and we went to Istanbul, and I was like, I did not want to go there. If you watch like American news, the Middle East is like, no, don't go to the Middle East. And I've never been to a place where I was like, oh my Lord, this is everything I want, from the people to the architecture to the food, the culture. It was so fun. It was amazing. Dude,
so
I love
having a coffee shop there, or New Orleans probably would be the best.
So let's just review here. And these are just super simple, just a quick world tour, a movie with Nick Cage, and a coffee shop in Istanbul. And it's just the classics, pretty standard.
Really standard. I'm going to make them all 3 happen. Even if Nick Cage is 85 years old, it's going to happen.
I agree. I'm so invested now that I will make sure that this happens, even if it's like a TikTok campaign to get you in a freaking movie with Nick Cage. That nothing would make me happier. That's incredible.
I'm actually mad at that idea.
One last, dude. I think we do it. I think the way to do it, we might have to just write it, but you're gonna be like this. I see it. I see it in my brain. You're like the raspy, obviously kind of like a Star is Born-esque guy on the rise. And he's the old head like Metallica or like Rolling Stones. And so he's been at it for a long time, and you have to go on tour with him, and you kind of need each other. Cause like people are like, look, you know, this is a big opportunity for you. And for him, they're like, dude, this is the only way you can get fans to come. You know, it's been a while since you've had a hit, and then chaos ensues. I don't have the name yet, but if anyone tries to write that, I will fucking fight you. I get first dibs.
Hold on. This is like, I'm being very serious when I say that that's a great idea. Everything about that I love, and I love it so much I don't even want to talk to it. I don't even want to talk about it that much because I might. Also, a thing that I did in the pandemic was I wrote a couple of short movies. I just thought it was really fun. I love movies. So I'm gonna. This is not a bad idea, but also I wanted to add.
We're putting a pin in it. We're actually
putting a pin in it. But in that movie, I think I'm hot shit because I'm like the newer upcoming artist, and
100%.
And I don't like him, and he thinks he's legend. He's like the best ever, and he doesn't like some snotty nosed kid. But at the end, we need each other. I learned so much from him. He learned so much from me. We're doing it.
Exactly. And you're like, you know what? We're not so different, you and I. This is
yeah.
You know what? After you guys are like fought on stage or whatever, but then eventually you guys put out a duet. It does really well. And it's like people understand that, like, oh, it's this new thing. It's this old thing. It's this whole beautiful thing. And I just want to be like the guy who is in the green room, like picking out all the M&Ms until they're all blue. And then you throw the fucking thing of M&Ms at me. Like, you idiot. You didn't fucking, and then that's my only line is just like, sorry, sir. And I'll be gone.
Yeah. But you have to do it in that register. Sorry, sir.
Sir, I'm so sorry.
You got the part, dude.
Oh my God. I am so excited. Let me call my mom really quick, tell her I'm going to be in a movie, and then
we'll write.
I got one more question for you. Yes, exactly. I got one more question for you. You've been awesome. This is kind of our big one, and no pressure, but it's like the biggest question you can ask. If you could ask God one question, or if you believe in God, or if not, what is that question that you would ask the universe, the writer of all this, or if you could have an answer to a question, maybe if you don't subscribe to any of that, to the mystery, what would your question be? No pressure.
Okay, so I love God. So you're saying before I die, I get to know an answer, or after?
I'm going to say it. Yeah. Like, let's say after you're walking in them pearly gates and he's like, dude, congrats on the movie with Nick Cage. And you're like, thank you so much. And
Thanks,
and he goes, you get a just whatever answer you want. And you're like, hell yeah, let me think about it. And that's what you're doing right now. I'm buying you some time because it's a big question. Oh, what is the thing that you go, all right, what do I got?
I mean, that is such a big question. It's so hard to get an answer to, but oh my God, I would really have to think about my real answer, like my deep answer. But I would probably, right before I go, I'd probably be like, so what's like, is there like, do we get to choose which version of ourselves we get to be in heaven? And then is there like an aging process in here, or like, do we kind of just like stay like this for eternity? And then also like when other people die, when they're like people that died in the 1400s, are they just like, how do you know what a cell phone is? Or does it all kind of like, it's so complicated, but do we all kind of like just have the same?
Is there a aging process? Do we all have the same info? Do we have houses?
Yes.
Like when I was growing up, heaven to me was just such a simple concept. And now that I'm older, I have 1 trillion questions. Like they say, it's a place of no sadness or no fear. And I'm like, well, if there's no sadness and there's no fear, well, then is happy? Like, do you need relativity to create good and bad? So like that was a question I had recently. And I asked a couple people who are in both atheist circles and Christian circles. And everyone's like, yeah, go to bed. Like, this is not shit you ever get to know. You don't get to know these answers.
Yeah, go to bed. You're like a pothead without smoking weed. That's hilarious. You're like,
pretty much. That's the premise of this podcast is I just want to get to the point where you're at a sleepover and you've each had like a good amount of an edible and you're like, no, but like, does the guy from the 1400s know about Apple products?
Does he like just like immediately learn that upon entry, or Or I guess, do we
Right. Or is
learn
there a
upon it?
seminar that he goes to?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good one. What is heaven? What is it like? What are these, do's and don'ts?
Is there like a 1400s heaven and then a 1500s heaven and then everybody stays in their same sort of year range? I promise I did not ingest any marijuana, and I'm thinking like it.
But my favorite people are the people who can get to this point and they don't need anything.
Yeah.
They're just weird and they just like asking weird questions. And that's what we're all about here on Why Are We Here? Play the fucking theme song. Well, here's the deal, man. Seriously, you are one of the people that I've been dying to talk to because I look up to you in a lot of ways. I feel like what you're doing is so cool and fresh. My little brother, when we were home, was just in the car and he played your song Wonder. And I literally was like, oh my God, I love this so much. And I hadn't heard the song before. And I looked down at the name and I was like, why am I not fucking surprised? Of course. You're just really a true talent. And I'm so excited to be like the guy who can post like, guys, we had him on our podcast like 3 years ago and now he's winning an Oscar or selling out stadiums or whatever it is. So I'm pumped for you, man. If you ever need anything, please let me know. And we should write music together because I think we'd make something really, really dope.
I would love that. Also, all the same goes for you, man. I look up to you. I've looked up for you for a while now. You're fantastic. You're such a talent. And you have to definitely come on When's Lunch, come on the podcast. We'll figure it out like next week or something.
Yes.
And I'll be in Nashville in the next month. So we have to hang out. Yeah, dude, just really, really a fun time talking to you and excited to continue our friendship and hang in real life. Can't wait.
Thanks, man. All right, everybody. You heard it here. Spencer Southerland and I are going to write music. We're going to write movies about Nicolas Cage, and we're going to hang. We love you, man. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming on. Make sure to follow him on all of his socials, probably just at Spencer Southerland, correct?
At Spencer Music, because Spencer Southerland wants $20,000 for the username, and I don't care that much.
So fuck that guy. At Spencer Music, and make sure to check out all his music on all the places that you can listen. The podcast When's Lunch, and just be ready to see him on your Netflix browser because it's going to happen, and it's already happened. And we love you, and we appreciate you, and thank you, and bye.
Love you, dude. Thanks.
Hiya. All right, y'all. That's another episode of Why Are We Here? I'm your host, Spencer Crandall. Make sure to hit subscribe wherever you're listening. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you're on YouTube, make sure to hit subscribe. We love our YouTube peeps. That was Spencer Southerland. Make sure to check out his music, his podcasts, and just check him out on socials because he's great. Follow, especially TikTok. The man can sing. And check him out on the next tour that he does because those shows looked really, really fun. We got a bunch of new episodes coming at you. Not normally. It's always on Mondays. So Why Are We Here episodes. Follow us on Instagram at Why Are We Here _podcast. And we'll see you again very soon. We love you. These are golf clubs. This is my back room. And this is me signing off. Peace. Why are we here?